today. Normally when I demonstrate skills I try not to make statements like this is the way you should do it, this is the way it should be done. I simply say this is the way I do it. But today we're talking about splitting wood without having to use a knife and a batten on the knife. And I'm going to say to you that I think it is wrong to do battening. If you've got a decent knife, I just don't see the point in it. I don't really see the point in battening wood at all in the first place, or wanting to split wood when you're out in the woods. There's plenty of wood laying around on the forest floor. I don't see a need for it. But if you're going to do it, then why not have a special knife that you use just for battening, an old knife, one that'll stand up to it, but not your hunting knife. This is a matter of woods law. It's just a fact. If you want to go back far enough, the average hunter and woodsman just simply would not use his or her hunting knife for battening wood. And they won't do any of the movie stuff like slamming it into the top of logs or tables either. If you look after that knife, it'll look after you. And there may be a day come when you need that knife. I mean, not just for ordinary skinning and butchering, but you really need it. And your life may depend on it. So I say, no, it is wrong. Do not batten your knife. Now I'll just show you, this is my hunting knife. Okay, that's my hunting knife. And there's no way I will use a batten on that. It's a hunting knife, that's what it's made for. That's what I made it for. That's its use, that's its only use. Now if you had something that was sturdy like this, it's got a full tang, it's one piece, the tang isn't welded to the blade, it's all one piece. This is a heavy knife. This is actually my my eldest son's throwing knife. It's a fair size, as you can see, and it's pretty heavy steel, and it would stand up to battening. But he would never use this for battening either, because it is a knife that he uses. Okay, he uses it for throwing. See, we've got the sun's coming through all of a sudden. That's better. Okay, he would never use it for battening. But if you came across this type of knife and you decided that you wanted a knife specifically for battening, okay, that sort of thing would probably do the job. But again, I don't recommend using a knife. Here we've got a bill hook. Okay, if you can see them better down there on the stump. Probably not. Okay, well that's a bill hook, or sometimes known as a fascine knife. Here's another one, a little lighter. This one has a corn cob handle I put on it, because the original, when I found it in the ruins of my father's garden shed. The handle was rotted off it, so I made a new one out of a corn cob, and I've been using it like this with the corn cob for over 20 years. They are good for splitting wood. Even this is a 17th century hatchet. It's a lathing hatchet. Fairly light sort of a head. But it will still do the job. You don't need to batten it. And I'll show you now how I do it. Now, for those of you who don't know what battoning is, it's the process of putting a blade of a knife on a piece of wood and then striking it like so. What this does is it puts a lot of strain on the blade. You're hitting the blade with a chunk of wood, which probably won't dent the blade, but the connection between the blade and the actual handle can be shaken loose. Also, on weaker knives than this one, you can actually just damage the blade. You can bend it, you can break it. I would not even use this one. I know it won't damage the knife any substantially. It will certainly damage the edge after a while. And although this is a throwing knife, it's a dual purpose knife and it's very sharp. So that's how you batten, by striking the blade. And that's what I recommend you don't do. Okay, let's see what you can do. You can take a blade like this, and you could just stick it in, okay? But if this was a smaller log and you're not good at it, if you haven't done your axemanship, then it could be dodgy. You could hurt your hands, okay? So rather than striking the wood, put the blade on the wood, pick the whole thing up and knock it down. Okay, that will split the wood. Let's do it with a lighter one. Again, I could strike it. I could probably split this into several small pieces, but that's because I know how to do it. I'm used to doing it. But if you don't know what you're doing, then you can cut your hand. So again, if I want to split that, let's try and take it in half again with a lighter blade. And again, okay, we're getting smaller. This is fairly tough wood too. Alright, try a lighter blade again. Try the hatchet. Now, without doubt, it would be easier for me to just stick that in there. But for those of you, of course, that, like again, I say, are not used to doing it, then your best bet is just to hold it on it and start it. And there you go. It's as easy as that. You can keep going. Again, I would simply strike that because I can. So I assume that people that batten wood are either battening something smaller than this, or they simply haven't had the practice at using a hatchet. Okay? Now, at no time are my fingers in any danger, okay, of doing this. If I wanted to, I could start it going, and I can let go. Okay, safe and easy. No need to batten a knife. Just no point whatsoever. That's how it's done. Or that's how I do it.